Ah, silence. Funny, isn't it? How the world is terrified of it. People can scream at you, rip you apart with their words, and yet, when you say nothing, when you refuse to give them the reaction they crave, they lose their grip. They're like dogs barking at a stone wall, frustrated, powerless. Here's the thing, my friend. People think power lies in words, in their ability to dig under your skin, to make you flinch. They believe it's in the insults they throw, or the control they think they have over you. But I'm telling you right now, their power is an illusion. It's smoke and mirrors. It only works if you let it. React, and you give them the fuel they need. Stay silent, and you starve them of it. Think about it. Ever seen a fire? It roars, it blazes, it devours everything in its path. But take away the oxygen, and what happens? It dies. That's what your silence does. It suffocates their control. Every time you hold your tongue, every time you refuse to let them see you suffer, you cut off their air supply. Now, I know what you're thinking. But, Joker, isn't silence just weakness? Isn't it letting them win? No. Silence isn't weakness. It's restraint. It's power. The strongest person in the room isn't the one who shouts the loudest. It's the one who stands unshaken while chaos rages around them. You've been through it, haven't you? The betrayals, the lies, the people who smiled to your face while they were plotting your downfall. They wanted to see you beg, to see you crumble. But here's the truth they can't handle. You're still standing. Let me tell you about a wolf, a lone wolf, cast out of the pack. The world sees him as weak because he's alone. But that wolf? He learns to survive on his own. He learns to hunt without help, to endure the cold without warmth. That wolf becomes stronger than the pack could ever imagine. And when the time comes, that same wolf can tear apart the very pack that abandoned him. You, my friend, are that wolf. You don't need them. You don't need their approval, their pity, their fake love. They want you to chase after them, to beg for their attention. Don't show them a thing, not a word, not a glance. Show them your back as you walk away. That's where your strength lies, in refusing to play their game. People will call you cold, heartless. Let them. They'll never understand what it took for you to survive. They didn't see the nights you spent alone, the tears you wiped away when no one was looking. They didn't hear the battles you fought in your own head just to keep going. And here's the funny part. The same people who mock you, who try to break you, are the ones who fear you the most. They fear your silence because it means they don't matter. It means their words have no weight, their actions no consequence. Silence is your shield, your weapon. Life is like a chessboard, and every move, every reaction is a piece you give away. Show them anger, and you've lost a pawn. Show them fear, and you've given away your queen. But stay still, keep your silence, and you've checkmated them without moving a piece. Think about the greats, the ones who truly changed the world. They didn't waste energy arguing with fools. They didn't stop to explain themselves to people who wouldn't understand. Number? They moved in silence. They let their actions do the talking. And when they struck, it was decisive. People will try to control you because they're terrified of losing control over their own lives. They'll project their insecurities, their fears, their failures onto you. They want you to carry the weight of their brokenness so they don't have to face it. Don't fall for it. You've got to be like water. Water doesn't argue with the rocks in its path. It flows around them, over them, through them. It carves its own way, silently, persistently. And in the end, it shapes the very rocks that tried to stop it. Here's my advice. Let them talk. Let them scheme. Let them try to break you. But show them no reaction. None. Their power ends where your silence begins. Walk away from their noise, their drama, their chaos. Focus on your path, your goals, your strength. And when the day comes, and it will come, that moment when they realize they couldn't break you, they'll fear you. Not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't. Not because of what you did, but because of what you became. Stand tall. Be the wolf, not the sheep. Be the silence, not the noise. And remember this, your silence isn't just the absence of words, it's the presence of power. It's the loudest thing they'll never hear. They don't deserve your pain. Save it for yourself. Use it to build, to rise, to conquer. And when you do, when you reach the top, look back. Not to gloat, not to pity, but to remind yourself that silence was the key all along. Ah, but I know it's not easy, is it? Silence isn't the path most people take. They run their mouths because they're afraid. Afraid of being forgotten. Afraid of being irrelevant. But let me tell you a secret. Words are cheap. They're empty currency for people with empty lives. Actions. Silence. Now that's expensive. Only the strong can afford it. They'll test you. Oh, they will. They'll poke and prod, try to get a rise out of you. Why? Because your reaction validates their existence. It gives them purpose, meaning. Don't give it to them. Let them scream into the void while you remain untouchable. That's power. That's dominance. You know what happens when you react, when you argue? You've already lost. The moment you respond, you're playing their game on their terms. They're not looking for resolution, number. They're looking for control. They want to drag you into their cave of chaos because that's where they thrive. But you don't belong in the mud. You were born for higher places. You ever see a lion react to the barking of dogs? Never. The king doesn't lower himself to the level of peasants. He keeps his head high, his stride steady. He doesn't need to prove his power. It's understood. When they come at you with their petty games, their insults, their betrayal, because they will, don't flinch. Don't blink. Silence isn't just your weapon. It's your fortress. Build your walls high. Let no one in who doesn't deserve it. But I know what you're thinking. What if it hurts? What if the silence feels like loneliness? My friend, that's where they've got you twisted. Silence isn't loneliness. It's solitude. There's a difference. Loneliness is when you're begging for someone to fill the void. Solitude is when you've learned to fill it yourself. You've got to learn to enjoy your own company. Become your own fortress, your own kingdom. When you're truly comfortable being alone, no one can use isolation as a weapon against you. And trust me, they'll try. They'll abandon you, ghost you, cut you off just to see you crumble. Don't stand taller, smile through it. You think the sun cares when the clouds block its light? Number. It waits patiently. It knows the clouds will pass. Its warmth will be felt again. You, my friend, are that sun. And the people trying to block your light? They're temporary, fleeting. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who was mocked, ridiculed, cast aside. They said he'd never amount to anything. They laughed at his failures, at his pain. Do you know what he did? He stayed silent. He didn't fight back. He didn't try to prove them wrong. He let his work, his grind, his success speak for itself. And when the day came, when he stood on top of the mountain, they were the ones scrambling for his attention. But by then, he didn't need them. he'd already won. That's your future, but only if you learn to master the art of silence. Silence isn't passive, it's active. It's a choice, a discipline. It's saying, I don't need your validation. I don't need your approval. I am enough as I am. The world will try to tell you otherwise. It will scream at you, shove its insecurities in your face. Don't listen. They don't know your story. They don't know your struggles, your scars, and they never will, because you owe them nothing. Not your pain, not your joy, not your energy. Ah, scars. Let's talk about those, shall we? You've got them, don't you? Physical, emotional, mental. They try to use them to break you, to define you. But scars? They're not weaknesses. They're badges of honor. Proof that you survived what was meant to destroy you. Wear them with pride. Let them remind you of what you overcame. And when they point at your scars, when they try to use them against you, just smile. Because those scars terrify them. They remind them of your strength, your resilience. They remind them that you've been through hell and came out the other side. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your survival. You don't owe them an apology for your silence. Let them wonder. Let them speculate. Their assumptions are not your burden. Your story, your truth. It's precious. People will twist it, use it against you. So guard it. Protect it. Think of your silence as a vault, and within it lies your power. Don't open that vault for just anyone. Most people aren't worthy of it. They haven't earned the right to know what's inside. If they try to force it open, lock it tighter. And here's the key. When you choose silence, you make the world listen to your actions. Because actions, my friend, speak louder than any words. I won't sugarcoat it. It's not going to be easy. The world doesn't like those who don't play by its rules. They'll try to break you, force you to conform. They'll say, why aren't you defending yourself? Why aren't you fighting back? But here's the truth. They're not seeking answers. They're looking for weakness. Don't give them that. You have to understand something about people. They're addicted to control. They want to dictate how you think, how you feel, how you react. But silence? Silence takes that control away and puts the power back in your hands. Look at the greats, the warriors, the leaders, the legends. They didn't waste breath explaining themselves to people who couldn't see their vision. They kept moving forward. Focused. Relentless. And that's what you need to do. There's a storm inside you. I can feel it. Raging, tearing at you. But that storm, it's not your enemy. It's your strength. Harness it. Channel it. Let it fuel you. Because storms don't apologize for their destruction. And neither should you. And here's something no one tells you. Silence isn't just about ignoring the noise around you. It's about silencing the noise within. Those voices telling you you're not enough, that you'll never make it. Shut them up. Drown them out with action, with progress. Ever hear the phrase, still waters run deep? That's you. Calm on the surface, but beneath, depths they can't even begin to fathom. Most will underestimate you because you don't react the way they expect. Let them. Let their ignorance be your advantage. But don't confuse silence with isolation. Silence is a tool, a strategy. Isolation? That's a trap. Build your circle carefully. Surround yourself with those who respect your silence, not those who demand you explain it. Quality over quantity. Remember this. Every great movement starts in silence. The most profound revolutions, the most powerful changes, they begin in quiet moments, when no one's watching. That's where you are now. laying the foundation for something greater. And when the time comes, when you've built your empire, when you've reached the heights they said you never could, they'll realize their mistake. They'll see that their noise, their games, were nothing but dust. You don't need to announce your plans. Let them wonder. Mystery is power. Let your silence speak for you. And when you do speak, make it count. Every word, every action. Make it a statement they'll never forget. Look, the past has nothing new to say, so don't look back. Focus on the path ahead. It's yours to carve, yours to conquer. And when you reach the end, you'll realize the truth. Your silence wasn't just a tool. It was your greatest ally. Silence is an art, a strategy. But like any weapon, it takes practice. It takes patience. They'll test you, dig deeper, push harder, trying to break you. But here's the beauty. Silence forces them to show their hand while you remain untouchable. Life is a chess game, my friend. Every move matters. Most people waste their pieces, throwing away their energy on every insult, every jab. But you play the long game. Don't respond to their noise. Let them exhaust themselves. And when they've played their hand, when they've run out of moves, that's when you strike. Not with words, not with anger, but with action, with results. Checkmate. Your silence terrifies them. Why? Because it forces them to face their own insecurities, their fears, their failures, and they can't handle that. People are mirrors. They reflect what you give them. Show them anger, and they'll throw it back at you. Show them fear, and they'll feast on it. But show them nothing? Show them silence? They shatter. It's ironic, isn't it? The louder they scream, the more they reveal how powerless they are. The quieter you remain, the more power you hold. But don't think silence is easy. It's not. It's a battle. A war, even. Against them, yes, but also against yourself. The part of you that wants to lash out, to scream, to fight back. You have to master that part of you. Once you do, you become unstoppable. Ever hear the phrase, speak softly, but carry a big stick? That's silence. You don't need to shout to make an impact. Let your actions speak louder than their noise ever could. And here's the thing about actions, they leave no room for doubt. Words can be twisted, misinterpreted. But actions? Actions are undeniable. When you rise above their petty games, when you succeed despite their efforts to break you, that's a language they can't argue with. That's a statement they can't ignore. So, building, create, grow in silence. Let them wonder. Let their curiosity eat at them. And when the time comes, unveil your masterpiece. Not out of spite, but because you owe it to yourself to be everything they said you couldn't be. Silence also gives you clarity. When you stop reacting to the noise, you start hearing yourself, your true self, your goals, your purpose. The world will try to drown that out, to distract you with chaos. But silence cuts through it all. It's like standing in the eye of a hurricane. The storm rages around you. But in the center? Peace. Not everyone will understand your silence. Most won't. They'll see it as weakness, as indifference. They'll try to drag you back into their chaos. Don't let them. Protect your peace. It's your life, your strength. And when they say, "You've changed," when they accuse you of being cold or distant, let them. They're right. You have changed. You've grown, evolved. You're no longer the person they could manipulate. You're stronger, smarter, more focused. You've become the storm they tried to escape. Let them underestimate you. That's their mistake, not yours. While they're wasting energy tearing you down, you're building something unstoppable. Silence isn't just about keeping your mouth shut. It's about focus. It's about choosing where your energy goes. Invest in yourself. Invest in your future. That's where the real wealth lies. And here's the thing. Silence drives people mad. They thrive on drama, on chaos. But when you deny them that, when you give them nothing, they spiral. They start questioning themselves. Your silence becomes their torment. Stay focused. Stay calm. You're not here to play their games. You're here to win the long war. And that war? It's not against them. It's against the broken version of you they tried to create. Every time you choose silence, every time you walk away from their noise, you're defeating that version of yourself. You're reclaiming who you are. And when you finally emerge, when you stand tall and unshakable, that's when they'll realize their mistake. But by then, it'll be too late. You'll be untouchable, unreachable, a force they can't reckon with. Silence is contagious. When you stop reacting, stop engaging, you inspire others to do the same. You show them a better way, a way that doesn't need to shout to be heard. Silence isn't about running away. It's about standing your ground without giving them the satisfaction of seeing you waver. It's about saying, I don't need your approval. I don't need your validation. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone diminish it. Silence, my friend, is strength. Let them try to drag you into their chaos. You're not here to prove anything to anyone. You're here to build, to thrive. And the only person you owe that to is yourself. So, when the noise gets too loud, when the world tries to drag you down, remember this. Your silence is your power, your shield, your sword. Wield it wisely, and let them wonder. Let them fear the quiet storm that is you. Because in the end, their noise is temporary. Your silence, that's eternal. Let it speak louder than anything they ever could.